Kurtis Patterson hits 160, and South freaking Australia wins by only 2 runs. What a marvellous weekend of Shield cricket we were treated to. Okay, so let's start off with the South Australian match against Tasmania. How on earth did Tassie screw this one up? Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the final over the match. South Australia required 2 wickets to win the game, and Tasmania, who are sort of in the box seat here, only require 7 runs to win. But they are kind of playing with their tail end, and they have this win at all costs approach. And remember that, because that really comes back and bites them in the butt effectively, because they could have easily seen this out for a draw. Yeah, so Tasmania get a single at the start of the over, require 6 off 5, and Bell is on strike. But what Bell decides to do is a little bit peculiar, because Wes Agar, the bowler, on the next delivery, the second delivery of the over, with Tassie requiring 6 to win off 5 balls, kind of tries this across the line shot off a half volley and just misses it. And Wes Agar cleans him up. Well, that's okay, because Tassie still have 1 batsman remaining. It's Meredith, who's their 11th batsman. And, just see it out. Right now you're in the back foot, so you don't need to go and try and win the game. So yeah, requiring 6 runs off 4 balls now, they just should see the game out. But Tassie aren't having that. They want the win. And Wes Agar's bowling very well. He's making it hard for them to dig it out. They're bowling these really full balls. And Tassie get down to a situation where they need 4 runs off the final ball with Meredith on strike. Again, Wes Agar bowls a full ball. Meredith bunts it out to cover, and it goes straight to cover. They get an easy single. So they've effectively not reached their total. 3 runs short. It's okay, they get a draw. But Meredith decides, instead of just seeing it out, he's going to run a second on the fielder's arm. The guy at the other end is like, no way, man. We get the draw. Makes him turn back. Meredith gets run out. Tasmania lose the game, and South Australia win by 2 runs. What are you thinking, man? But that is just terrible, terrible cricket. There was never a 2 in that, let alone 4. You should have just seen the game out and just accepted the fact it was a draw. And that would have been a good result, considering Tasmania were on their final wicket. But Meredith wasn't having it. He wanted the win. Unless he was hoping for some kind of Ben Stokes super over final kind of deflection for 4 with his bat. There's never 4 in that. And, Meredith has clearly had a brain fade here. I don't quite get what he was thinking. He must have thought it was like a short form game or something. Because, bro, just accept the draw. Like, you've done okay. And it's disappointing for Meredith, because he had a very impressive game up until this point. He got 4 wickets in the first innings, despite being a little bit expensive. And yeah, he only got 1 in the second, so he ended up with 5 wickets for the match, which is a decent effort. And Tasmania had put together an incredible effort in that 4th innings. They were chasing 429, which if they had got, and they were very close to getting, would have been their highest ever run chase in the 4th innings. Like, that would be a hell of an achievement. I understand why Meredith wanted it, but man, you've done so well, and your batsmen had worked so hard to get your team to that point. Draw would have been a very good result for Tasmania, considering their position in the table, as well as the fact that they really had their backs against the walls. It sort of made the work of their batsmen earlier seem a little bit of a waste, and some of the batsmen had done great. A bloke by the name of Ward had scored, I think it was 142. Yeah, 142. And there was a really solid 4th and 5th wicket partnership, really carried by former WA player Bradley Hope, who really kind of carried that middle order of the innings and stabilised it. So he partnered with Ward and Owen, and across the 2 partnerships, they got a combined 170, which got them very close. But yeah, their tail, you can't really expect much of their bowlers, but yeah, their tail didn't sort of pick up the hard work they'd left them. And unfortunately for Tasmania, they didn't get across the line, which is a little bit sad for them. This win also puts South Australia now top of the table. Very, very lucky result, if you were to ask me. They kind of blew their lead from the first innings. And they, to be fair, they played very well in the first half of the game. Jason Sangha had a man of the match performance. He got 2 great innings. Let me get them up for you here. He got 150 in the first innings and a handy 61 in the second, in only his first ever first-class game for South Australia. I would say Jason Sangha would be in contention for a baggy green after a performance like this, especially if Smith and Labuschagne don't perform throughout the rest of the series, as Australia will need strengthening in the middle order at some point. But I think Jason Sangha just needs a few more performances like these and to iron out his inconsistencies, because he sort of puts together a great game like this and sort of doesn't back it up. I think he only averages 29, which isn't at the standard for an international call-out. But in a couple of years, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the baggy green if he continues playing like he did against Tasmania. Okay, Queensland against the mighty Victorian Bushrangers. Let's go. Okay, so this game is remarkable too, and it sort of got lost in the chaos of the South Australia-Tasmania game. But this story needs to be told because Queensland got their first victory of the summer, winning by only 23 runs. I mean, these are like 2020 limited over scorelines we're seeing here in like 4-day fixtures. This is pretty unheard of, I think, for Shield cricket. And it's remarkable to say Queensland even won this after their first innings, because they got rolled by a very impressive Fergus O'Neill, who channeled his inner Victorian blood, and that being Scott Boland's kind of storyline of bowling. And he ended up actually getting 3 wickets for no runs in the space of 6 balls. I mean, that's just crazy. It's very Scott Boland-esque. And this wasn't just like the tail end. This was the very start of the game. And he got out like their openers and 3 and 4 very cheaply. So very well bowled Fergus O'Neill. And it really set up the first innings, at least, where Queensland got absolutely rolled for a pretty dismal total of 172. And they were really heavily reliant on Renshaw, a former Australian Test player, and sort of a stalwart performance by Mark Steckety, who's came in clutch throughout the game. We'll talk about that in a second. But Victoria kind of fumbled this early dominance. It was very resemblant of the Australia-India first test, where Australia did very well in the first innings when they bowled, but then when they batted, they didn't back it up. And Victoria got bowled for 123, I think it was. Yeah, 123. I've got to be honest, just looking at that, that's a pretty ugly scoreboard. Like, you don't want to be seeing that in Shield cricket. And when Queensland went out to bat, this chaos continued with Mr. Fergus O'Boland coming in and getting 2 wickets for no runs in his first over of the third innings. Like, that is crazy. Somebody got to tell Queensland this isn't T20, because pretty early on in their third innings, Queensland was 6 for 42, looking like another collapse was on the cards. But then Jimmy Pearson came up and finally gave us some runs in this game. My God, the game was screaming for someone to come out and put a decent total. And again, alongside Mark Steckety, they actually put on a decent partnership. Jimmy Pearson got 84 and Mark Steckety got a handy half century, which gave them at least something to defend. It was still a really low total, but they at least had something now to work with. And work with it, they did. Mark Steckety went from being James Faulkner against England in ODI matches to being Tracy McGrady with 13 seconds left on the clock. A very clutch performance with the ball, getting 3 crucial wickets, which alongside Mitchell Swepson, who got a 4-wicket haul, made sure that Victoria wouldn't chase down Queensland's total. So Queensland won their first match of the summer, and well done. They're now off the bottom of the table. Tassie is now bottom after their absolute fumble, all-time worst fumble. It's almost iconic how bad Tassie did that. Meanwhile, Queensland, who are also at the bottom, got themselves a win. So well done, Queensland. Okay, final match. You got New South Wales Blues against the West is Best Warriors. And man, New South Wales put WA to the sword. What a dominant performance. It looked like when you see Australia versus like bloody Bangladesh or something. Oh, I don't know if Australia actually does that to Bangladesh. Last time they were there, it didn't quite end like that. But yeah, you know what I mean. Maybe Australia against Bermuda. Maybe that's a better comparison. But anyway, my God, WA, what is going on? To be fair to WA, New South Wales put on a masterclass. Like, my boy Sam Constas put on a solid 88 at the top of the order. Get him in the Australian team. Come on. He is too good to ignore. This guy, future of Aussie cricket, I truly believe. Check out my video if you haven't already. But yeah, he put on a good performance. And then, my God, Kurtis Patterson in the middle order, getting some big runs. 167 not out. Mr. Kurtis Patterson, you are like the GOAT of Shield cricket right now. This guy, it's almost like a crime that he hasn't got more test caps. He's only played 2 games, and look at that average, 144. I know it doesn't technically count because it's only 2 innings he's played. But this guy, like, what more can he do? It's really sad that he hasn't been recognised more for the talented cricketer he is. And in the last month, he's really been racking up those runs in Shield cricket. So I really hope that if Labuschagne and Smith don't work out in Australia, he gets a shot, or at least considered, at least as 12th man, because definitely deserves more recognition. And especially considering he got a century in his last innings for Australia. Like, the fact he was even dropped is absurd. But yeah, anyway, here he is playing Shield cricket, and he's doing what he can do best, which is just get runs, and that's all you can ask from him. But yeah, also WA, they were without a few of their stars. So all-rounder Aaron Hardy's got a quad injury. He's actually not going to be playing in this weekend's Scorchers fixtures, which is a little bit sad for him. They were also missing Joel Paris. Darcy Short sort of took a leave of absence to go to a wedding. I mean, fair play. Good on you. You got your priorities right, which is good to see. And they're also missing Jai Richardson, who is injured again. I mean, this poor guy. He's played a couple of tests for Australia, did very well, got a 5-wicket haul against Sri Lanka in the same match that Kurtis Patterson played, I believe. And then, since then, he's just been in and out of the stateside, getting injured constantly. I think in his return game, he got a wicket in his first over, or maybe even 2 wickets, and then he got injured. Like, my God, this guy can't catch a break. So I really hope he comes back soon. It'll be great to see him, appear in Australia, let alone in the Shield again. So, yeah. Hope for a speedy recovery for him. Let's also not forget 10 wickets from Jack Edwards. Like, man, well played, sir. There's 5 wickets in the first innings and 5 wickets in the second innings, putting a very talented batting lineup of WA against the wall. Like, the WA was fielding multiple ex-test players. And, this young gun kind of cleaned him up, so well played, Jack. Anyway, guys, that's the Shield wrap-up. If you liked it and want to see more of this, just let me know in the comments below. I don't know if Shield content is really in demand, so yeah, let me know what you think. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.